Let's have a conversation about the Law Society of Kenya. They had their elections for the president and council of the Law Society of Kenya just a couple of months ago. Nelson Havi was obviously elected president. We know that because we have already even interviewed him on the show. And he ran on a campaign of a brave new bar. And what we've seen is the new leadership of the Law Society of Kenya has basically gotten a lot of attention, even in media attention in terms of coverage, a lot of conversations in various platforms on what is happening now from the Law Society of Kenya, inside the Law Society of Kenya, and also what the Law Society of Kenya is pushing in terms of governance. For instance, the Law Society of Kenya was very, very vocal on the advice by the Chief Justice to the President on him to dissolve Parliament because Parliament has not met the requirement for a threshold of the two-third gender rule. And the LSK president had even decided that he's going to lead a delegation of a few members of the council and some lawyers and some civil society organizations to go to have a sitting in the Senate. And they actually did that. The Law Society of Kenya has also been very vocal on various other issues in corruption cases, in talking about how the fight against corruption is going, in talking about the governance of the country, in talking about even the BBI. They've lent their voice on this. Is this what you'd call then a brave new bar? Are you seeing some elevated conversations about the Law Society of Kenya, from the Law Society of Kenya, rather?
Well, I think because the things that happened in succession, right? We saw that the expression of this brave new bar was very vibrant. It was very robust, or it has been, from the different acclamations that we've heard, especially coming from the president, Nelson Havi himself, and saying the things that they were going to do: occupy Parliament, storm Parliament, make demands of the executive, make demands of those under him for certain things to actually then be done. Now, I would say it was very brave in the expression. However, in the execution of the same, perhaps that same boldness and courage has not been seen or experienced. It would be also that when these actions then were now playing out to follow the words, that maybe they were not planned as well as the vocal sentiments that then were made. But it would seem that, unfortunately, for them across the country, it almost became a laughingstock, especially when we saw the issue of Occupy Parliament, that, it turned out to be something else from what the country had been fed in terms of an idea of what then would happen. Does it mean that they have fallen back on their resolve? I don't think so. But I think that here we see a typical example of how you can say something and plan to do it, but the actual execution is something totally different. And now the playing out of that execution for many people then might mean that this brave new bar then is not so brave.
Well, the bravery, I think, could best be described as intentions.
Intent.
Statement.
Yeah.
Yes. However, this particular post was competed for. Harvey wasn't nominated unopposed. Neither was he elected unopposed. And with any political post, because this is political, you will find that even as you have that job, there were people who perhaps did not share your views of this brave new world, and who, even when you're elected as a president of the brave new world, will not rest until their voices are heard. And usually, in political circles, it's not that their voices are heard. They pursue that particular goal by ensuring that at every turn, they point at failings, they point at paintings of the individual leadership style in the worst possible manner. One. Then two, there's just the reality of what your intentions are vis-a-vis what it is that it's planning to change. It's not as though this is some inert object. You're talking about situations and you're talking about people behind them.
Yeah.
They will have their say. They will have their push. So what we're seeing playing out is precisely that.
I love that you've said that, CT, because you say Brave New World.
Deliberately so.
Yes, and there's a novel that was written, and the theme of this book, Brave New World, by by Huxley was that the idea was that you had so entranced your people in this thinking that everything was all right. So then through that, you were able to hoodwink them even more to do things like steal and plunder from their resources. And I think it's very interesting that you said that, because it would seem that the intention of this brave new bar in Kenya with the LSK was to stop or to counter the effects of that same thing which Huxley talks about in his book, where he talks about the fact that citizens cannot constantly be fed this whole idea that it's the leaders who know what is going on and keep their people in this state of constant hoodwink, right? It would be in the statement, again, coming back to the fact that the action would seem that it did not feed into the lifeline of this particular statement. So I think that was very interesting that you brought that out. And I think for a lot of people, they're saying, okay, what we have heard and what we've been told in the last few months is actually not what we see. The intent could still be there. But, as people say, you can't feed people on intent. They will not be satisfied with your intent. They would be satisfied with your action and seeing tangible results of the same.
When you have all these kind of, issues coming up, and now let's just look at what's happening at the LSK at present. First, there's the issue of, do they have a CEO? Do they not have a CEO? Has the CEO been removed from office by the council procedurally, or has she not been removed from the office procedurally? And notice was even taken out by the president of the Law Society of Kenya with regards to Mercy Kalondu Wambua, and it says, take notice that the above pictured individual, Mercy Kalondu, ceased being Secretary and CEO of the Law Society of Kenya effective 19th October 2020. She is not authorized to transact, communicate, and deal in any way whatsoever in the name of and on behalf of the Law Society of Kenya. And after that, now we go ahead to say that a forensic investigation has commenced at the Law Society of Kenya over the handling of affairs because, according to the Law Society of Kenya president, 70 million shillings of members' contributions cannot be traced, cannot be recovered or punished. When those liable insist on remaining in office despite having been fired, it's worse when they're being protected by godfathers and godmothers. What is the president saying? The president is basically saying that we have a CEO and a chief executive who has been in office, who, as far as I am concerned as the president, is no longer in office, but she is staying in office because she enjoys protection from some godfathers. And yet we want to commence this investigation into how 70 million shillings was spent or appropriated in the Law Society of Kenya from the Law Society of Kenya coffers. Let's have this conversation with lawyers who are members of the Law Society this morning. One of them is Advocate Samson Masila, and the other one is Advocate Wilson Kamande Murigi. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning, Eric.
And thank you very much for joining us. I think we're just going to start off with you, Samson. Samson, when you look at, from those of us who are not members of the LSK, looking at the LSK and what is happening so far, we're wondering, okay, so what's this? Is this what the new leadership actually wanted? Is this what the people who voted in this new leadership were voting for? Is this what you wanted, Samson?
Eric, I want to start by saying that it is definitely not what any member of the society wanted for the society and the council. But the issue at hand is larger than we could see. It's a governance issue. It is an issue of malfeasance. It's an issue of breakdown of corporate governance within the society, and so the battle is here to go on because we believe that factionalism has been introduced by parties that are keen to muzzle the voice of the council and the president, and so it is regrettable what is happening, but it is a war that must be fought.
Would you say the same thing, Wilson?
I'm surprised that you have such sentiments from Samson. But my position would be one, that whatever is happening at LSK was expected. It's something that was foreseeable. From the divisive politics that we have seen with Harvey, all the way from, was it in 2018, when he wanted to vie for president before he had actually got to the required age, and at the same time lost the Nairobi branch elections with all the accusations that were leveled against the win at that point in time. The list of the campaigns that he carried out this time round, and the way he's been treating people, definitely something we foresaw. It's regrettable, it's unfortunate, and I believe going forward, members need to take action over such issues.
When you say treating people, how exactly is the president treating people? And I assume by people you mean members of the LSK.
Yes, members of the LSK. It's unfortunate, for example, when you go to social media and the first person to insult members is the LSK president himself. Yesterday, there's a meme that is going round of a certain gentleman who was referred to as a learned squirrel and scoundrel. Imagine such a thing coming from the LSK president. It's the same thing that happens even in chat groups, LSK chat groups. You get a person who has a very sharp tongue, very itchy fingers, that anything, any moment, you can get any type of insult from him. So I'm saying it is not something that it has caught some of us by surprise. It is not by surprise.
So I mean, if we're looking, we come back to you, Samson, just on what has just been said. How would you then, if this is the case, if these things are being said, if this treatment is actually occurring, is it something that should be coming from the president of the LSK in the manner in which it is?
One, I want to make it clear that I do not hold brief for the president. He can speak for himself. I think we should not be going into the character of the person. We should be going into the character of that office, and we should be talking about the conduct of the office of the president and also the council itself, the way it has conducted itself so far. I would not wish to discuss the person of the president or what he posts. That is up to him.
Okay, the president, the office of the president is run by an individual, right? It would be very difficult to be able to separate the two. Now, if you're talking about focusing on the conduct of the office of the president, it's not run by space. It's run by an individual. It's run by a person. So if this is coming out, it's representative of the office. Now, those who may be on the receiving end of this or looking at this, they call it as the LSK, regardless of who it is that is saying it. Again, I ask, how then should this be dealt with? Or is it because it's an individual, it then should be ignored?
That's not my comment at all. My comment is that there are official communication channels through which the council and the president also communicate to membership and the society, and of course the public. And social media is not one of them. So, to material that he puts on the social media, that is a matter that he can speak for himself. That is not a matter that I can comment on. If he wills it upon himself to communicate in that manner, then he can defend that to himself. But as to matters that concern the society and how to respond to that, I think there are communication channels which are defined and properly defined, and so that's the only material I can comment on.
Okay, so if we look at the LSK as a body, as itself right now, are there challenges that are being faced? Let's look at the Brave New Bar, which is something that was brought about. It's something that was run on that possibly would have put the officials that are on that seat there right now. Are there any challenges that are being faced now from what you see?
Ideally, yes. There are many challenges that are being faced by that council, and I think one of them is lack of amity and perhaps also lack of ideals in the council itself. I do not want to cast aspersions or impute any wrongdoing on any member of the council, but from the communication we get in, because we are not privy to the minutes of and the meetings of that council, but from the communication that we're getting, it would appear that there's now factions within the council that are hell-bent against doing what is right and doing what they were elected in those positions to do. I want to say this. I associate myself with the ideals of the new Brave New Bar, and this, I believe, are ideals of the society itself, and also be the ideals of the society itself. And one of the issues was that we needed to clean, we needed to straighten, we needed to align the secretariats to be more responsive to membership needs and to the demands of the council. When then the president and well-meaning members of the council take to that task, and there are persons within the council that are hell-bent to stifle that progress, then it can be said that there's a problem in there.
I want to ask this question because I actually don't understand it fully. The president of the LSK was voted in by a popular vote. Is that how the LSK functions?
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
Was there any opposition to his election? Were there people who felt that the elections were not fair and that perhaps there had been some underhand dealings that got him into position?
I don't believe such a challenge was posed, but there were challenges.
Okay.
There were challenges, and of course, the issue was not about a challenge to the winner.
So his election was deemed to be fair. And now, if that is the case, then are we then discussing the personal style of the president of the LSK, or are we discussing someone who is going against the protocols and the rules by which LSK is supposed to be run? What really seems to be the issue here? Because LSK is in the news every other day.
If you ask me, I can respond to that question if it is limited to a particular decision that has been taken. Perhaps if you ask me about the issue concerning the CEO, the issue concerning Occupy Parliament, the issue concerning other initiatives taken by the LSK, I could be able to respond if it is limited to one.
It's purposefully broad so that you can take your pick how you want to respond, and not just you, your colleague as well can also respond.
Perhaps you can go first, please.
Eric.
This is CT
Hello.
Muga.
Hi, Muga. Sorry. Now, allow me to respond as follows. That the buck stops with the president. The buck stops with Harvey. And my position of saying this is it's based on the following: that Harvey has broken all the corporate governance structures, or the way how the council is supposed to be run. One is that council decisions are made by a majority of the members. Each of them has one vote in a decision that is supposed to be made, and if there is a tie, then the president has a casting vote. We have had and we have seen decisions whereby either Harvey imposes that decision on the council and says that this is how it's supposed to be done, whether a vote is going to be taken or not, or in a situation where he's outvoted, he decides now that he's going to take the decision of the majority as a decision of the minority, as now as the decision of the council. We know, for example, and the rules, what the rules stipulate, that any decision that is supposed to be taken at the council shall be by a vote. And we know that is what has been happening. It is not the first council that is casting a vote. There are things that have been done before. And the previous chairman and the previous presidents have always abided by the decisions of the council members. And that's how you respect council members. But now when a person becomes a letter writer, that every time that he doesn't agree with the council members, the first thing he does is to write to the members and communicate his decision, and leaves now the rest to communicate the decision as the majority. It is unfathomable. You cannot really believe that is how a society is supposed to be run.
But then again, Wilson, the members of the council, have they raised the complaint about this? Have they taken any action about this? And what action is it that they're supposed to take procedurally according to the LSK rules? What is it that council member, an individual council member who feels aggrieved by the proceedings or the communication from any other member of the council, what are they supposed to do and what have they done?
Okay, one, I will not go to the particulars. I'll just give one example, and it is a glaring example of what has been happening right now. You remember that a vote was taken on whether the CEO should be removed or not. 9 members voted to retain her. 4 amongst them, Harvey, the Vice President Kamande, and 2 other members voted to have her removed. Then Harvey went ahead and decided to say that we need a judgment to be written we need the reasoned rulings by all of them so that to decide, and he had to make the final decision on whether to send Mercy home or not. And then out of that, he decides that he's going to disregard the decision that has been made by the 9 members. Now, the 9 members went ahead to issue, imagine, the 9 members, after Harvey has issued his own statement now, the decision of the minority, indicating that it's the decision of the council, the 9 members had no option but to call a press statement and issue their parallel statement indicating their position. But I believe these are matters that are supposed to be dealt with internally. Yes? And whatever that is happening, I can tell you, for example, Harvey no longer, there is another issue that you know that has been happening, where Harvey wants to impose an auditor on the council. The council wants to make a decision. He does not want that decision to be made. How else will you, if you cannot offer leadership at such a stage, how else is it going to be done? In terms of how to deal with grievances, we know it is possible for a council member to be suspended, for example. The president cannot be spared, the VP cannot be spared. But what happens right now is not the time to go through that route. We believe that
Wilson,
there is an opportunity.
Wilson, yes. If I might just judge in, you're not telling me what the other aggrieved council members have done to have their issues, to seek redress or to have their issues addressed. For instance, I'd feel, if I'm feeling that I have been elected into this council and the council is being run, it's not being run properly, or the leadership of the council is not proper, there would be mechanisms within the LSK that would say how that issue can be addressed, not playing it out in the public. What is it that the aggrieved members of the Law Society of Kenya Council are doing to have their issues addressed?
One thing I know for certain is that in their communication to the members, they raised the objection to the manner in which the president was acting. The other thing, I'm also familiar with the happenings of the council, is that they tried to raise issues with the president during a council meeting that was held earlier this week, and the president refused to hear them, and he actually ended the meeting and said that no more meeting that is going to happen. So now you see, when you get to such a situation, their hands are tied. They have to make a decision. Either they play out in the public, or decide now, let's go with the act and decide as a majority we can suspend the president and the VP. But I don't believe that is supposed to be the way to go.
All of this has become extremely public, and you said something that was interesting now, is that these things should be handled or should be looked into without the public eye on them. Yes. But it seems to be the total opposite. And this is a question for you and as well as Samson. So if there are issues that are going on, everybody is seeing this as a result of the fact that it has been made public. And so then asking questions about then what really is going on as LSK, because it is an important, society in this country. It is important. But now it's under the full glare of the public. Should it be handled in the manner in which it is being handled? And we can start with you, Samson, on that.
One thing I'll say.
Allow me to just let's take a break now on KTN Home at 5 minutes to 8, and then you can continue and you'll answer this question. You'll start off with you taking the question, Wilson, and then Samson. This is a Situation Room. It's Kenya's biggest conversation. We are live on Spice FM, on KTN Home, and online, Spice FM KE on YouTube, on Facebook and Twitter, and spicefm.co.ke. We're asking ourselves, what do we have at the Law Society of Kenya? Is it a brave new bar, or is it a Tower of Babel? Is there communication and proper communication coming from the top leadership of the Law Society? And what do the members feel? So today, we are speaking to two members of the Law Society. Wilson Kamande Murege is an advocate, and advocate Samson Masila as well. Time for us to take a break. We'll continue shortly.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life. 102.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
All right, the conversation continues on Spice FM, and KTN has taken a break. They'll be joining us shortly. Wilson, take the question.
Yes. Now, this is what I was, and I wanted to make it clear.
Yep.
Is that the issues we are having right now can be dealt in a better way. But the problem is one. When you have a tweeting president, and I would not want to say that LSK has a Trump of its own, but when you have a person who the moment they wake up, the first thing they do is to tweet about LSK, we passed a resolution at the AGM that we should create an account specifically for a Twitter account for the president of the Law Society of Kenya. He objected it and said that he's going to use his own personal Twitter account and sign off as Paul. Yeah. So every communication, even before it lands to the members, it passes through social media, either his Facebook account or the Twitter account. And that is the problem. That now the other members have no other option but also to respond using the same media that is the public. But I will say this: I believe we have proper channels of communication. There should be no muzzling of any member. If it's a decision that has been made, let it be communicated through the proper channels. We get our communication through emails. Members discuss, but I do not think it is right for anybody, either as the president, as the vice president, or as a council member, or even an ordinary member like myself, yes, to wear our dirty linen in public.
Samson, what do you have to say?
You know, Eric, I want to comment as follows. One, I would be very slow to impute improper motive on the person of the president. Secondly, I think this goes to my colleagues on the other side that are a bit antagonistic to the position taken by the president. You can hear it from my colleague down there that the attacks are personalized on the person of the president and not on the substance of issues that have come forth. One, I will be very slow to impugn the decision taken on the matter of the CEO. I may not go into the particulars, but they are well aware. Decisions of the council are contemplated to be made through consensus. That is by amity of the council itself, and that is what the contemplation of the members require. And if in case there's no that amity or consensus, then a vote is taken. Now, on matters that the rule of law is not a static concept, such that now you need to base it on one measure alone. Perhaps on the issue of the removal of the CEO. I think it had been agreed, and I understand that there was an agreement and consensus of the council that this being a matter of removal from employment or termination of a contract, then there needed to be a reasoned decision made by the council, because that is the requirement of the law. And that there ought to be a judgment written by each member of the council, and that was agreed upon. So when they come to the council and none has a decision, and I don't want to I want to be very measured, not to impute any wrongdoing on any member of the council, because I'm not privy to it. But again, when every work of the day there's a voice that tries to stifle the progress of the council, the president has to take action. Perhaps to quote Winston Churchill, a wartime president is faced by unique challenges, and sometimes he must take unconventional measures, to achieve results.
In the room is CT, Ndu, and my name is Eric. On the line this morning with us is Wilson Kamande Murigi and Samson Masila, both advocates of the High Court of Kenya and members of the Law Society of Kenya. We are talking about the affairs of the Law Society, and why we're discussing them is because we see many affairs of the Law Society playing out in public. Is this the image or the kind of reputation that the Law Society of Kenya would like to have? If you look at it from one end, you'll say that you want a law society that is robust, because as a law society, because of what we've seen from previous leaderships of the law society, they've been very active and very, very vocal on matters of governance, on matters of fighting corruption, on matters of upholding integrity. And this is what is also expected now of the leadership in the law society. When they come out and they're very vocal about, all right, so this is what we see. There is a matter, for example, that was determined yesterday in the courts, and this is about the National Police Service and who it should receive instructions from. And the court agreed with the petitioners in court and said the National Police Service should not be taking it's an independent commission. And the Inspector General of Police is an independent Inspector General of Police, should not be taking instructions from any other body, apart from just getting, for example, instructions, maybe what is clearly stipulated in the Constitution. This is a good thing that you see the LSK pushing that agenda and LSK pushing the boundaries and saying we are seeing things not going the way they should be going according to the law. Where would you say that the members of the LSK would look back and feel that we are taking steps in the right direction, despite of whatever else could be happening internally? And I'm going to ask this question to you, Samson.
Come again, please.
When you look at what the LSK, I mean, the conversations that the LSK has started at the national level in terms of good governance, in terms of even going to court and petitioning, for instance, now this issue that was determined yesterday on the IG and the IG not taking instructions from the Security Council or any other organ, but being independent, and such other matters, or even Occupy Parliament, the move that was being spearheaded by the president of the LSK, Occupy Parliament, because there has been an advice that has been written by the Chief Justice in accordance with the Constitution to the President in accordance with the Constitution. Is this, would you say that this is pushing the agenda, the right agenda for the LSK?
I first want to commend the council and the president for taking this initiative. That is very commendable of them. And this is the right place of the Law Society of Kenya, that it ought to protect matters of public interest. It ought to push issues of governance and rule of law. And what we are seeing, that is the right track. Those are the reports that we need to be coming from the LSK and the leadership, and not the rank of the VA. But that is commendable.
Wilson, what do you say?
I would say, and going by Section 4, the mandate and role of LSK is wide, from issues of governance to issues of public interest, the rule of law, members' welfare, practice matters, and all that. And I would say that that is a fraction of what LSK is supposed to do in terms of the 13 functions that are given to LSK by virtue of statute. And going by the petitions that we know they have filed, it is a step in the right direction. I believe apart from public interest, it needs to look into practice matters. That is our bread and butter matters. Because as much as we want to appease the public, the members themselves, their issues also need to be addressed. The issue of member welfare, that is also another one. And then at the same time, we also need to put our house in order. We cannot at the same time try to save others, whereas our house is burning.
I actually find it very refreshing that this back and forth within the LSK is taking place because, one, it points us to, among other things, the fact that the LSK is robust and that it's willing to challenge even issues from among themselves. This is a good thing. However, given that many previous chairmen have actually ended up vying for some political seats or going into the political arena, how then would you dissuade a Kenyan like myself that all the wranglings that we're hearing have to do with 2022?
Can I go first?
Yes.
One, and I wanted to point out, unfortunately, when we talk about public interest and the rule of law, we have a president who is preaching water and taking wine. Whereas he's busy trying to busy filing petitions, challenging government actions, and which are legitimate, I would believe, so the petitions are legitimate. He himself is not even bound by the decisions that are made, for example, in terms of the law. And I would say that the issue of the sacking of the CEO itself comes to fore, where the law requires that a two-thirds majority should issue a decision for the removal, he gets a third, then goes ahead and takes that as a decision of the council. That definitely we are taking water. Sorry, we are preaching water and taking wine. But going forward, I will also say this, that LSK has been used by people before as a platform for campaigns. We saw Harvey in 2018 using banners for purposes of campaigns all over Nairobi. And I will not be surprised that he will also be on the ballot come 2022. And that's the reason why he's working with parliamentarians and political parties. The other day he was it a launch or whatever he's doing? There is a fringe party by the name of UGC, United Green Movement. That Mweke party is what he was saying, trying to, I think it was during its launch, he was giving a keynote address.
But
the other day
look, just because somebody is a president of the Law Society of Kenya does not make them now stop living the rest of their life. If somebody, for example, wants to, he attends an event, it doesn't mean that he's attending an event in his capacity as president. It could be attending an event in your personal capacity. It doesn't stop you, or there's nothing wrong, I believe, unless there's any part of Law Society regulations that says if you are in the presidency or in leadership of the Law Society of Kenya, you should not express any political ambition. Is there?
No, there is none. And let me make this clear. if you look at the tweets that came from both the Jonathan Mweke and that came from Harvey, he was there in his capacity as the president of the Law Society of Kenya. The other one is that they were together and they planned. You remember Occupy Parliament? Yes, it is the two of them who told the cops there that they had come to take a cup of tea. We saw the other day he was trying to host politicians at a senior council's home. LSK is not a political party. Under Section 4 of the LSK Act, there is no mandate whatsoever for LSK to participate in political parties' activities. That, if anybody can contradict me on that, they can. But what we are saying is that people should not use the platform, the LSK platform, to front their own personal agenda at the to the disadvantage of members' issues, welfare issues, and practice matters.
Has anything been done, in your opinion, Samson, according to what Wilson is saying?
I think they are wrong in their persuasion. One thing you can hear it from my colleague, and I think this is common with the people that are antagonistic on the person of the president. They dwell so much on the person of the president and forget that he's a public figure. He holds a public office. Policy is shaped by governance, is shaped by politics, is shaped by committee. When you come together with the other leaders, there's nothing wrong in that. And in any way, and I think you put it correctly, that being a president of the LSK does not limit you from pursuing other endeavors, whether political or personal. And so to impute any wrongdoing because he's in committee with a political leader is for me to go on the wrong way. Because I think the issue with that movement was all about tree planting and issues of environment, and that is a matter that is in consonance with the ideals of Section 4 of the Law Society of Kenya Act.
What should we see? How should we see it? Because the thing is that if anybody is fulfilling a particular mandate, Samson, regardless of what it is, and then now we see, just like you've said a few minutes ago as well, that whatever the issues are, if there are any, there is a manner in which they should be handled. What should we be seeing the LSK presenting in terms of the amendment and the mandate and fulfillment of the same? So as to remove this stain or whatever that is already on it, that is being perceived by the members of the public. What is it that we should be seeing the LSK doing on a daily basis that would take away from this?
If I get the question correctly, I think what we need is the resumption of amity within the council, and there are men of wisdom and women of wisdom in that council, and I hope the sooner the better, that they are able to put their heads together and do what is right for the membership and do what is right for the leadership. I think, firstly, there are so many serious issues to tackle as at present, including matters to do with the voice of the Law Society of Kenya in matters PBI, in matters constitutional change, in matters governance, in matters, the rule of law, in matters also to shape the policy in the manner in which our political leadership needs to behave, because those are matters that are interconnected with the rule of law and law. You will look at the decision that had been made by the ministerial committee directing the IG on how to conduct their duties. When they go to court and put it right that the law to be this way. Those are the issues that we need to hear most of, and not the random.
And the reason why we're having a conversation about this is because we've seen it's a series of communications that have happened among lawyers about the leadership of the organization, not just with the present organization. Even before this election, the last time there was an election into the previous administration, there was a group of lawyers who had come out and they were calling themselves Okoa LSK. And it was all about, we feel that the LSK has become too quiet, we feel that the LSK has become too soft, and we need an LSK that then occupies its rightful place in the society. An LSK that is right there in matters of pushing for a proper justice system, or pushing for governance, just like Samson, you're saying, pushing for all these other ideals of a society. How do we get there? You're both not among the older lawyers. You're among the younger lawyers, if I may just say so. But how then do we move the LSK? Do you move the LSK to that position where it occupied in a previous decade?
I think if I have to go first,
Yeah.
I believe we're in the right direction. The leadership of the current LSK is in the right direction, led by the president and the vice president. And all we need is to join forces to take a common front as the council and the membership. I think anyway, we cannot do away with the issues that are internal in nature, because these are issues of accountability and transparency, and either way they must be tackled, whether by this council or another council, because the issue of financial malfeasance and accountability, and either way there is bound to be friction when such matters are being handled, and change does not come easy. It must come, and it will come.
Wilson.
Yes, allow me to contradict Samson. We are not heading in the right direction, to be very honest. We cannot be the talk of town about how chaotic we've been. Or videos are circulating of people changing doors at the secretariat, guards closing out gates for people. That the only thing that we can boast of are wrangles within the society. That's not the society we are yearning for. That's not the direction that we're supposed to be heading. And we cannot justify it by saying simply because everybody now LSK is famous again, then we're heading in the right direction. No, we are not. We have a leadership crisis, and that is what is ailing LSK right now. I can tell you I was part of Okoa LSK. We had issues then. We tried ironing them out. We tried going into the two councils that were there. Issues cooled down. We now have a third council after that. And I'm telling you, things are not as rosy as we see them. Where you see an LSK president who enjoyed 12 out of 13 members of the council, support of, is it 12? Yes, 12 out of 13 members. His support has dropped to 4 people, then there is an issue. You do not lose the support of 9 members within 8 months, and then you tell us that you're heading in the right direction.
So
I keep saying this.
Yep.
Yes, and this is where the rain started beating us, is that we have a situation where you cannot balance in terms of what you need to achieve and what you need to achieve in terms of vendetta. We know that there is so much vendetta that is that some people have been engaging in. We knew that there was going to be witch hunt before these elections. We knew that people are saying that heads are going to roll. It started with interference with the senior council bar. The senior council does not even want to be associated with the affairs of LSK right now. Now tell us where you're going to get the voice of reason. And so we are saying, if at all LSK is going to head in the right direction, let us all reason together. Let us come together as the seniors, as the young, as the leadership, and let Harvey listen to the people. That's what we are saying. For me, let me tell you,
Has this been put to him? Because, it may sound so basic, like something a child would say, but it would be that, has it been brought to him and said, look, the way in which things are going, it's not good. Has this been made very plain to him and say, is there a way that we can sort this out?
Let me
allow me to interject and tell you this. When within the first 2 months, when people realized that something was wrong, letters have been written to him. He has ignored. He no longer responds. When complaints were raised when he reconstituted the senior council bar, he ignored it. And I can tell you, for example, he removed Fred Ojambo as the chair of the senior council bar and installed Ahmed Nafir because he believed it was his person. Nobody bothered. Then people just walked away. When all these issues are being raised and people are telling him, calm down, Mr. President. We had an AGM earlier this year, and people told him that whatever it is, and at some point, branch chairs were mad with him, and they told him to calm down, listen to people. And he still thinks that simply because he's a president, that he's going to run roughshod on people. These are issues which have been brought to his attention. He does not listen. Yeah, we've tried to get the intervention of the senior council bar. The other time they intervened during the barrio of senior Kitonga. The moment they took over the barrio, he refused to attend. What do you explain that happening?
Would you say
so
that if I may ask, please allow me to interrupt you here. Would you say that the vast majority of members are not happy with their president?
Yes, they are not.
And if they are not happy, are they unhappy to the point where they would be willing to get rid of him?
Yes, they can. I can tell you for certain, and without a shadow of doubt, that there are efforts which are being made by persons whom are known to Samson Masila, they are friends to Samson Masila, for the removal of LSK president. It is no longer a joke. People are tired about it.
Eric, let me interject.
All right, come in, Samson.
Yes, I think let's not blow this thing out of proportion the way they want. And I think we are wrong when we discuss individuals and mention names. In the wrong way. We should be measured in our discourse here. One, the issue in which the council has differed with the president is only one, on the issue of the removal of the CEO. None of the other decisions they have differed on. Yeah. All other decisions were reached by consensus. So we need not blow the issue of the removal of the CEO out of proportion. There are factions within the council, and they will better speak for themselves as to why this matter has reached this point. But every time there's bound to be a change in an institution, there's bound to be this friction. When Justice Mutunga tried to terminate the contract of Boshole then as a CEO, registrar of the judiciary, there were issues. There was a fight. There were court issues. There were court fights. It is not isolated. It's not unique to the LSK that now we're having an issue of this because of removal of the CEO. There are vested interest. There, she has also a vested interest there. She has also support from a section of the membership and part of the leadership, and so there's bound to be that friction. So let's not blow the matter out of proportion by imagining that now the council is broken. The council is not broken. They have differed on one issue. It's a matter of principle. I think, sooner there will be resumption of amity.
So the way forward for you, Samson, is you think that the society right now is in the right trajectory, and everything, the affairs of there are a couple of teething problems or minor challenges in the running of the council of the society itself. But do you think that the society is in the right trajectory of getting to where it ought to have been?
It is in the right trajectory. I can assure you that it is in the right trajectory. The sooner we deal with the issue of the issue at hand, of the CEO, the sooner the better, and it will be dealt with very decisively.
Wilson says that you're aware of a group that is already having conversations about removing the president or even having changes at the leadership of the LSK. Are you aware of this?
I am not aware, and I can tell you that is wishful thinking. It will not happen in the term of the president. It cannot happen. Yes.
What seems clear to me is that there are two distinct camps within the LSK, or maybe there's a third one that we haven't heard of. But surely, from among yourselves, can you not arrive at a consensus at how this matter ought to actually be resolved?
I think on the part of the persons that support the ideals of the Brave New Bar, and I say these are ideals that transcend any individual, whether the person of or the person that is associated with its leadership, is that we mean well for the society, and we mean for the progress of the society. The other persons on the other side, my colleagues, and I want to invite them to join us. The issue is that of the person of the president alone. They are not, they will not come to discuss the substance of the issues that he puts forth. When the president says we need to do an audit on the financial reports of the society, they do not come and say we are ready for the audit. They do not come and say I challenge the financial statements that have been placed forth before the public that says that the money has been lost. No, they attack the person of the president. They are quick to attack.
Can I please?
Yes.
Just respond to
that.
You see,
Samson is misleading people. Yes, that on the issue of there's any audit about money having been lost, and I actually wanted to address that issue before we take it out of hand. A letter was written by Harvey. A letter was written by Harvey alleging that money was lost. Questions have been asked Today, answers have been provided. I'm sure Samson has not even read the response from the council members themselves on how the 50 million, the 20 million, and the 6 million were utilized. But right now, we want to sensationalize the matter that monies have been lost within LSK, so that can be used as the justification for the removal of the CEO. Nobody has objected to an audit. So when Samson comes and tells and says that the other side is objecting to an audit, who has objected to an audit? This is a resolution that we passed ourselves. We passed at the AGM for the appointment of an auditor. But LSK, Harvey himself, cannot come and impose his personal auditor, a person whom they did deals at Status City, as to be the auditor of LSK. That is not going to happen.
Is there evidence to all these things that you're saying, really?
Yes.
You can hear my colleague. I do not want to get into that, but I have said it times many that the problem with my colleagues on the other side is that they do not want to approach the issues on merit. They want to dwell on the character and person of the president, and that now clouds the judgment and clouds the perspective of this matter. If we are to focus on the issues that are four, I will say as follows: one, that the rule of law was applied in the manner in which the issue of the CEO was handled. If there is a question about how it should be dealt, then I think it's a matter for the courts to handle. Either party is at liberty to approach the court and canvass the issues that they feel were done against their rights. Either the president himself or even the person against whom the decision was made. Secondly, on the issue of audit, I want to be clear. I have not said money was lost or any money has been lost. I cannot impute that wrongdoing on any person. I'm saying that the resolution of the AGM was that we need to do an audit by December, because there ought to have been a requisitioned an SGM by December to discuss that financial audit, because the financial reports that were presented were rejected by the membership. And when the president has requested, or the council has requested for financial reports or financial statements or material that would help them, commence this audit from July, and none has been provided to date, then there's a question. When the president goes forward and says, for the sake of membership and in the interest of the membership, now we must move forward and appoint an auditor, and the CEO comes and says, by direction of the council, that matter, the person that has been appointed as an auditor should not proceed with work. The process is ongoing. So what is this? What does that communicate?
There are issues. What it communicates is that there are issues that are happening within the management of the LSK, and I think just like CT Muga has said, these are matters that would best be discussed by the membership of the LSK, and I'm sure that's already happening. Whatever is happening is already happening within the membership of the LSK, within the ambits of the law and following the proper procedure. And we just hope to see an LSK that is robust, an LSK that stands up and represents at least the ideals of the citizens of Kenya. I want to thank you, gentlemen, for joining us this morning. Wilson Kamande Morigi and Samson Masila, both advocates of the High Court of Kenya and members of the Law Society. Asanteni sana and wish you a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a